Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Can you believe it's been a week since I last saw you? I can't believe it. The time has gone by so quickly. Last week, I flew solo. We had an amazing conversation. I got to ask, guys, how are you doing today? How is my amazing HR community sitting up here today? How are you doing? I'm so happy to see you. We just survived a really crazy weekend. Last Friday, Hurricane Elsa passed over Barbados, and it would be remiss of me not to mention that it really was a very scary time for a lot of people. And we have a lot of Barbadians right now who are homeless as a result of that storm passing over, which is very, very heartbreaking. But thankfully, I'm one of the fortunate ones, and we didn't have any damage to our property or our family. But I want to say my heart goes out to all of my Barbadian brothers and sisters right now who are in the struggle, who have lost your homes. I really am very, very heartbroken and so sorry. And I hope that things work out very soon. And I know that there are things happening on the radio, through government. They're trying to find different ways to support people who have lost their homes, who are suffering. And I'm going to reach out and let you guys know what that is. If you want to offer any support, we'll be happy to have you support Barbados in any way that you can. That being said, I am so glad that you are here. As I said, how are you doing? Please let me know. Where are you joining us from today? Where in the world are you chiming in from? I promise you, this is going to be an amazing conversation, and it's probably going to go over an hour. I'm going to give you a pre-warning just because I am so excited and so honored and so proud to have my dear friend, Vivian Acquah, join me today. Vivian is a huge advocate for workplace wellness and diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace, and making the workplace a better place to be, but amplifying that through HR professionals. And so we are going to have a conversation today about her. She's going to share her story. We're going to learn some more about her Amplify DEI Summit. I am so excited to be speaking this year. We're going to have all of that fun conversation. So I'm going to bring Vivian up to the stage, and we're going to kick things off. Ms. Vivian.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Julie. It's weird. It's weird to be on the other side. Whilst yesterday I was presenting.
I know, because you have your own show on LinkedIn as well, and which I have been a guest on. Thank you so much for having me. And again, all about amplifying diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I just feel like I'm so honored to have met you, to know you, and to be your friend. And we met through a very good mutual friend of both of us, Ms. Rashida Jones. Who will be gracing us at some point, but I know Rashida is super busy.
I'm going to meet her upcoming Sunday with my son.
Oh, you are? Oh,
yes,
please give her a big hug for me.
I will.
Rashida is amazing, but this again speaks to the power of LinkedIn and the power of connection.
And
making human connections. So, as usual, my guests, everyone who sits on this show, we magnify HR voices. It's all about them. It's not about us. But today we're going to have that conversation about you and your show and why you created it. I've just set the banner off. We're getting ready to have this conversation. I'm going to jump off the screen and ask you to tell our amazing guests your origin story. I see Gupri is here. Nicola is here. Florida is in the house. The UK is in the house. And I know the Caribbean is in here somewhere.
Wow, that many.
I am telling you. People. Listen, this audience don't play.
They don't play at all.
They don't play. Best audience on LinkedIn. I am not ashamed to say it. Forgive me.
Amazing, amazing.
Guys.
Hi, everybody.
They are absolutely amazing, and I love them very dearly. So I'm gonna jump off screen, leave you to start telling your origin story. I see Gary Turner is here. Look at that. Look at that. Hey Gary.
The
Hi
heat is
Charlene.
on. The heat is on. We don't
They don't
play.
play. They don't play. I'm gonna jump off the screen and leave you to tell your origin story. All I'm gonna ask
Wow.
you to do for me is don't talk about the summit just yet. Okay?
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. I'll
I'm
tell
done.
you.
Good.
I'll tell you.
Talk to the
Yes.
beautiful people.
Thank you. So here, Julie is putting me on the spotlight. My name is Vivian Acquah. I am born and raised in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. A few things that you don't know about me. I am 6'1", very tall, so 1 meter 86. I live here together with my partner Jan, who's mostly out of the spotlight because he doesn't like the spotlight. But together we have a son called Orlando. A lot of people know him by now, but the reason why I mention my son Orlando because he has played a huge role into the journey that I'm in. I studied business economics, used to be a financial consultant, and converted towards the IT, where I was a bridge builder between finance and IT. Fast forward towards 2013, the most impactful day of my life, because on the 1st of January, we found out that I was pregnant. And I was working at a very small company. I was dealing with 5 managers, and working for a very small company with 30 colleagues. And around 5 weeks, I disclosed to my managers, shared that with them that I'm pregnant. From the moment that I shared my pregnancy, that was the moment that I was being devalued. That was the moment that I was being dehumanized. And that was the moment that I was brought into a different light, because I was facing the maternal bias where I was being bullied. There was a lot of microaggression played a part, where it led towards 6 months of pregnancy, where the doctor warned me about my hypertension being risky for myself, but also for my son, my unborn child. And when my son was born, luckily nothing happened. I hear him in the background. I hope he stays it. Most of the times when I do my lives, this is a in between. Most of the time when I do my lives, people see him in between, but I am so grateful that he wasn't impacted by what happened to me in the workplace, but realized that, if my son would come into a domain, into a space where he would disclose with me or his dad about what's happening in the workplace, or maybe he was part of the exclusion in the workplace, or maybe he was not being valued for the person he is, what would I tell him? And if that is the case, why am I not applying that to myself? So realizing how big of a role I was playing in his life, 4 months old, not realizing what kind of impact he was making, I realized and I need to step away from that job. So I walked away and started my journey to become a workplace wellness advocate. And most of the times I listen towards my son, but he is at an age, he's 7, where he's at an age where he's challenging us, he's challenging his parents as well, and he's using our words against us. But in between those challenges, he drops his Yoda questions, he drops his Yoda moment. And Julie told me that I'm not supposed to be sharing, so I'm at that point where I can't share anything anymore.
Okay, yes, don't share anything about the summit yet. That's the whole point of this conversation, right? We're gonna get there. But this is not the first time that we've had this conversation, right?
No, the last time you made me cry.
I'm sorry. We both
No,
cried.
but it was a good conversation.
To be fair, we both cried.
Yeah. It was a really good conversation. Julie is one of the few speakers where I totally let my guard down. I feel like she's my sister, and we already have a dinner date, because the mangoes that she keeps on sharing sometimes on social media, she promised me within 3 years, I'll be there.
Yes. We're going to make it happen. And I saw Gurpreet wants to join us as well. So.
Awesome.
I am so excited. Gurpreet says she's so honored to be a
Yeah.
speaker at the summit as well. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering what we're talking about. So
It
let's
seems like this secret code that we're talking
we're
about.
talking about. So let's not keep it a secret anymore. I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you our first question. And I think you kind of alluded to this, but what
Mm-hmm.
inspired you to start to plan this summit? I mean,
Yeah.
planning a summit is a lot of hard work. And you decided to take this on. And I gotta say, like, not just as a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yes, first and foremost, as a
Yeah.
woman understanding biases, as a Black woman
Yeah.
living in Europe. Like,
Yes.
what were you thinking?
I don't know.
So,
No, I wasn't thinking at that moment. At that moment, I was activating my inner Nala. So the inner Nala, as in Simba. I love to use cartoons, by the way. But my inner mother lion, the lioness within me, that
mhm,
was furious after hearing a question that my son shared. So last year, the lockdown was a huge impact, but a bigger impact on our personal life that has to be George Floyd, where not only were we confronted by it, but realizing that we, the world globally, not the US alone, I'm sharing that here,
yeah,
there is a global problem when it comes to systematic racism. There
mhm,
is a global problem when people who are not part of the in group, people who are a little bit different, or people have a different skin or a different religion or a different sexual orientation, are being excluded in the worst way. And what happened to George Floyd was painful for me, because my son, even though my son is biracial, he will still be perceived as a Black boy.
yeah,
And I realized sooner than later that I had to activate my double parenting, but also I have to be careful with what I'm sharing and how he's supposed to act, at a certain age.
yeah,
And in the Netherlands, we still don't have a trigger warning when it comes to Black people hurting. That's
mhm,
something that I hope that the Netherlands is working on, but they kept showing that 1 minute snippet over and over again. And every time it started, I switched the channel. One time
mhm,
I was too late, and he saw that. And I could see on his face that he had a lot of questions on his face. So he started asking questions with his dad.
yeah,
And then I realized that I have to step up. I have to share the Black side of the story as well, by making it very simple, saying that George Floyd was killed because of the color of his skin.
mhm,
And here was he giving his Yoda isms. Is anybody going to hurt you, mom? That question, it seemed like the time stood still for me for at least 1,000 years. It hurts. It feels like somebody is
here
somebody's
at your heart.
yeah, exactly, that was the word. You see, that was the word that I was looking for. And I had a hard time sharing to him that nobody's going to hurt me, whilst in my mind I'm just like, holy,
Mm,
what's happening here? What
yeah,
am I doing? Because if my son, remind you, he's 6, very smart, but he's 6,
yeah,
if he can see what's happening and what kind of impact it has on our personal lives, then how come others cannot see that? And I cannot be here on this planet Earth, not do anything. So his answer, his question, made me bungee jump out of my comfort zone. And a few days later, I noticed that Alexis Ohanian, who is known as the guy behind Reddit, the
yeah,
founder behind Reddit, but also most of you might know him as the partner of Serena Williams. I don't have their budget, but
yeah,
he did something that was bold, and up to this date I haven't seen any other bold moves as the way that he was doing that. And he stepped down to make room for diversity, to make room for inclusion, because he wanted to be able to answer his daughter to the point that he was able to share that I did this. When you're asking me the question about what did you do, that I
yeah.
did this. And I wanted to be able to share that same answer towards my son,
Mhm,
minus the budget, but I have to work. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, and people sometimes always come to me for networking. So I know a lot. And after, doing so many let's humanize the workplace conversation, I
Yeah.
know that there is something there that bonds us. There is this part of inclusion, but we have different intersections of reaching towards that inclusion. And I thought, I know that those people, I just
Yes.
activate them by also sharing my why, by also sharing why this is important and how my son played a huge role in this. And they said yes, and it scared me because here I was thinking I am going to get 30 people. I ended up with 69 experts internationally, inspiring others, moving the needle, and in total, more than 900 people joined us from all over the world. And this year, it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be bigger and better.
I want you to, how do we even break down all that you just said? Like, okay,
There is no part of breaking down.
there is no part to break down, right? But like, I know your story is super powerful, and it resonates so much with me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I live in the Caribbean, I am
Yeah,
originally from the UK. I am
yeah,
100%
yeah,
born and bred Manchester. And this is not a conversation. I have two boys,
yeah,
one daughter. And this is not a conversation that I have to have with my children here in Barbados.
yeah,
But the minute we travel,
yeah.
I have to have that conversation about
True.
how you go on the tube, the way
Yeah,
you walk, how you
yeah,
dress. Those are conversations that we have to have with our children, right? And I always remember in Steve Brown's book, HR on Purpose,
yeah.
he said, he made a statement that was so thought provoking to me that I wonder if a lot of people think about it. But when you raise your children, you are raising future employees,
Future
right?
leaders.
You are raising future leaders.
Yeah,
And so the what you do with them in the home makes a difference, right?
yeah.
And that, I always knew that, but just like reading it in that moment kind of did
Mm-hmm.
something a little different for me to
Yeah,
help me recognize I need to teach my children what the workplace looks like as an
yeah,
HR professional. That is my duty, that is my obligation
yeah.
to teach that to my children before they enter the workplace.
Yeah, my
And
family also was sharing charity starts at home. If you
yes,
don't plant those seeds at
now,
home,
exactly,
you have a challenging time after that.
exactly. And funny enough, my daughter, um, my sons have my complexion, which is I'm dark. My
Hmm.
husband is clear skin. And so my daughter has his clear complexion. And
Yeah,
I remember many times when my daughter was little and we would travel and people would always say, "Is that your baby?" And I'd be like, "Yes. This is my baby. Like, she belongs to me. She doesn't look like
nonsense,
me. She doesn't have my
nonsense.
skin
Yeah,
color. But she belongs to me." And I feel
yeah,
like all of these little microaggressions are things
yeah,
that add up, right? But it's really important for us as parents
yeah,
to make that commitment to say we want to make the world a better place for our children. We don't
yeah.
want them to have to experience the things that we're
But
experiencing.
walking the talk as well, because there's one thing to explain it to a child and to read books, but
Yeah,
if you are not walking that talk,
exactly. You're dead in the water. I absolutely. And so I really appreciate the fact that you have made this commitment, this decision
hmm,
to create this summit and create a space
yeah,
for these conversations to take place. Now you
yeah,
teased me a little bit before the show, which I thought was like so, but I want people to just understand the reality of what it is
yeah.
that we are talking about. Can you share with the audience what you shared with me
Yes, I can.
before we
So
started this show, before we
yourself,
kick this off?
brace
Guys,
yourself.
I want to
I'm
see
going.
all the hearts, all the love, all the celebrations for Vivian when she shows you what her speaker lineup looks like so far. Mind you, the summit is in September. Here we go. This is the speaker lineup. Talk about DEI in action. we're still
And
going.
I'm not done yet.
I
I'm
know
not
you're not
finished
done.
yet.
I
I'm
know
not
you're not
finished
done.
yet.
We're
But
just
this,
getting started. We are
you
just
see
getting
how
started.
powerful this is, and I'm smiling. My cheeks are hurting because I'm smiling from ear to ear at the moment right now, and it's amazing. Yes, my VA is working in the back, so that's why
Uh-huh.
you're seeing that. But
Yeah.
I my heart is full. My heart is full by seeing so many talented people from all over the world, from Australia, from Europe, from the United States, from Canada. Gurpreet is on there. Gary is on there.
I
You
saw
are on there.
Sejal.
Barbados is on there. So
Uh-huh.
there are so many talented speakers coming on this platform, all because they want to inspire, the current leaders, but also the new leaders, the self leaders, to amplify
Mhm.
DEI within their own space.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so honored to be amongst
Yeah,
all of these amazing speakers. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of them. I'm just honored. I'm like so
yeah,
floored to
yeah,
actually be speaking amongst these people. Like
yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. And
Uh,
this is one of the teasers because I haven't even disclosed this with all the speakers yet. I'm giving you the
that's what
promo. I'm
sisters
giving
do.
you
That's
the
what
beta.
sisters do. That's what sisters do. Like this is we are at the start of something truly great.
Yes.
And where else better to show it than in
Yeah.
magnifying HR voices, because we
Yeah.
are magnifying HR and
Yeah.
DI
Yeah.
in so many levels. We
Yeah.
are not going to stop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to
And
keep
where
on
have
moving
you
it
seen
forward.
a summit where almost all the colors of the rainbow? So let
Yeah.
me explain that this year I did my utmost best to at least have the inner layer of the diversity wheel to be represented. It was also important for me to have intersectionality represented.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels dirty for me to say I'm ticking off the checkbox, but I am.
Yep.
And I am so proud of the fact that so many people said yes,
Mm-hmm.
because my son challenged me with his question to challenge other people. So
Yeah.
Orlando doesn't even realize the impact that he had on
Uh,
so many people. But when he
mhm.
comes to that age, I'll make sure to share this with him and to tell him. And I hope that this legacy can go on so that he can be part of this amplified legacy as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I see the comments going like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop up a couple of these comments because, I always have a list of questions that I send to my guests and say, this is what
I
I'm going to
saw
ask
them.
you.
She had like 20 questions. I'm
And
just
then
like,
I go, beware, because my audience is so amazing. We are not going to need half of these questions.
I
Just like
know, I
just like I
know.
told you was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So let me start with Gupri. I was just
Hmm.
gonna say diversity. This is what diversity looks like, my
Exactly.
friend. This
Exactly.
is what
No
diversity
tokens.
looks
No
like.
tokens.
Nah, uh.
A lot of the variations are represented. So if you want neurodiversity, check. If you want gender diversity, check. If you want ethnic diversity, check, check, check. If you want people from the LGBT community, plus, 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 and all the different variations we have, I can say check, 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 check.
Full representation. I gotta share some of them.
Ageism, check. We also
Yes.
have people with special abilities, check.
Neurodiversity. Check. Hello. Hello. Rochelle says amazing. Keisha, lineup is amazing. Wow, looks
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Gary, unreal. This is
yeah,
one heck of a
yeah.
network.
So you see my face, like when I look at this palette, when I look, this is my mood board now. When I look at this, it makes me so, my heart is full. Know
Listen.
that, I have a few team members working on this as well, and we are still looking for sponsors. So if you have a company, of a company who is proud to connect their brand with this summit, hit me up or let Julie know. But know that there is a lot of heart in this summit. The reason why I'm sharing this, because I want this summit to be different from a lot of other summits as well. It's led by the owner, it's led by women, it is impacted by so many people, so many speakers. It's a heartful summit.
Yes. And I remember last year you used the words, it is the Netflix of DEI Summit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that from
yeah,
last year.
yeah, yeah.
Gary asked a very interesting question, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
leave it up to you to tell me if we can answer him or not.
Ooh,
Gary said, can we tell him what I am speaking
of
about?
course. That's I
Oh,
leave that totally up to you. No, no, no. There's no secrecy there. We are still
okay.
building upon the platform. It takes a while, especially when you take upon so many speakers. It takes a while,
Yeah.
but know that the platform will be ready by the beginning of August. But I am more than happy if you share a snippet of what you want to talk about.
Just because Gary asked. Just because it's Gary. But I'm going to be talking about the importance of
Yeah,
understanding neurodiversity in the workplace, why it's important to recruit neurodiverse talent,
yeah.
why it's important to understand your neurodiverse talent, and giving HR a different lens to look at when it comes to what the possibility of the gaps are between leaders, that CEO and HR relationship. If your leader is neurodiverse, or you are
Mm-hmm.
neurodiverse and your leader is neuroneutral, or your leader is neurodiverse and you are neuroneutral, why there are differences and gaps in your being able to have a good relationship with your CEO.
I'm
um,
gonna pause you because there are people out there maybe don't understand what's the deal with this neurodiversity.
Neurodiversity.
So can you
Okay.
maybe support them and share, a little bit of definition of neurodiversity?
I absolutely can. So, when we talk about neurodiversity, we're talking about persons who may be on the spectrum for Asperger's, maybe
Mm-hmm.
autistic,
Yeah.
persons who suffer with ADHD, which would be me, persons who suffer with um, the inability to read and write properly, so dyslexia. Those are the kind of things that we talk about when we're categorizing
Mm-hmm.
neurodiversity or
I call them
neurodiverse
the people
talent.
with special powers.
Special powers. We are
Yes.
special people.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about hiring. A lot of times, as HR professionals, what we call a difficult employee
Yeah.
can be that we've just not learned how to work with, recognize a neurodiverse person, and
Yeah.
to be able to pull the right things out of them and provide them with the right circumstances under which to work. So that's what I will be talking about, Gary. Hope that answers your question. Thank you, Vivian, for asking me to
I will
clarify
remove the
a
screen. I
little
will
bit.
stop the
Yes,
screen. Yes.
let's go back to our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So we this is not your first rodeo.
Yeah.
This is your second summit. What was the response like from the first summit? What was that like for you? How did it make you feel?
In the beginning, I thought that when I started asking people, I thought, well, maybe I can get 20 people and we'll see where it ends. And also, no, even though I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, and that's why the robot is behind me. I've never done a summit. This is the first time, but I know my way within tools. I collect, IT stuff instead of Prada and all the Gucci stuff,
Uh,
etc. I don't care. I care about tools that make my work easier.
yeah.
And I wanted to find a way to connect all the people that I've gotten to know, provide a stage as well, but also give that feeling back. Plant seeds now.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction was, it was more than I expected. More than I expected, not only from the attendees, but also the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
I led this summit the way as an inclusive leader should be led. So I supported my speakers. I shared a lot of tips, I even convinced Bogdan to support the speakers also this year again, to for those who want to speak up but are maybe a little bit challenged with, the online speaking up and
Mm-hmm.
creating that presentation. I
Mm-hmm.
want to support my speakers. I
Yes.
want to be their cheerleader because through them they will amplify the audience. And if I don't put that energy, that magic back, how am I able to expect for them to build upon that magic? So I basically cheerlead my speakers, because it's because of them that this is possible. So I have to give that energy back.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And afterwards, they surprised me. I received a post from Bogdan, and it got me crying. It got me crying because after the summit was done,
Mm-hmm.
I was so proud. I was so also tired,
Yeah.
but proud. And the day after, Bogdan tagged all the speakers, shared a post,
Mm-hmm.
and what the speakers shared about me, about the summit.
Yeah.
I'll cherish that forever.
What was the most touching moment for you in this summit? What made you feel the most fulfilled? That's none of the questions I have.
I I'm going to reflect towards Beyonce's song, which I have to look out, but her song Bigger
Mm-hmm.
is the way that I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I'm very tall, I've been made very small in the workplace, and it has a huge, I'm even going to cry now. It had a huge impact on me because
I'm sorry. Why do I do this to you? I'm sorry.
my value, my talent weren't seen, and it left a huge scar in my soul.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I was able to marinate the geeky side, but also, the DEI side, the workplace
Mm-hmm.
wellness side, the Vivian side. There are so many aspects of me. Sometimes I believe that I'm like operating like 10 people at once,
Yeah.
and they were able to have a seat at this summit. And the fact that I was recognizing my talent myself, but also other people were seeing that, it blew me away. It blew
Yeah.
me away. So I'm very humble. That's the Ghanaian part of me that is very humble. But it took me like a month to recover from all the love.
Yeah. It was overwhelming.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But coming back to Beyonce's song, because there is an African proverb where if you are in the room with
Mm-hmm.
a mosquito is very small.
But it can kill you.
It
From
not
the
only that,
Caribbean. What are you talking about?
it is impactful.
Oh yes.
So I want to be that mosquito when it comes to this DEI domain. I am that mosquito where you might be looking for me. You can't find me because I'm going to win.
Uh-huh.
And the I part, it's not about me. It's about the we. It's about activating us. And this is what's missing in the workplace. So I'm going to read up
Yes.
Beyonce's song Bigger.
Sure.
After this, you have to look up her song, because
I
this
will.
is my mantra for this Amplify DEI Summit. So
Sure.
if you feel insignificant, you better think again. Better wake up, because you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. Not just a speck in the universe, not just some words in a Bible verse. You are the living word. You're part of something way bigger, bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than the picture they framed us to see. Now, but now we see it. It ain't no secret, no. So when I feel challenged, when I feel tired,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I feel like my cup is empty, this is my go-to song, and I remember why I'm doing it. When I feel tired, I look into my son's eye. I remember why I'm doing it. I remember why I'm putting so much of my heart and soul
Mm-hmm.
into this project, where it's a majority, it's a one-woman show led by a few females, but it's a one-woman show.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, we can all activate people
Mm-hmm.
and be part of the equation.
Absolutely. And make a difference. It's why we do what we do, right?
Exactly.
From
Exactly.
summits to shows to
Yeah.
podcasts to
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
why we do what we do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Beyonce, and I know, like, I think a lot about her song "I Was Here." You
Mm.
know,
Yeah. That's also
so
a deal
she has
breaker.
some very
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know like that's a song that definitely would carry you through to know like when you left this world, you know that you did your part to let everyone know that you were here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
what a conversation. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Um, now you went a step further with Amplify DEI. So
Yes.
not only did you create a summit, you made a decision to trademark it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's so powerful that you wanted to create this space, own it, and own it, completely own it,
Yeah.
and you trademarked it. What
Yeah.
made you decide to trademark?
Well,
DEI?
there are two stories to
I
this to
I will
this to
tell
this
the people.
equation,
We
but
want to
I
know
will be
more.
honest.
Tell us. We
No,
want to
I'll
know.
be honest. One story is I want my son to have something. This is his legacy that I'm leaving behind. I want to create something bigger than the summits, and I'm working towards that. I'm working towards a space where consultants, we can unite, we can become an agency, and they can say I'm Amplify DEI approved. That's where I'm leading towards.
Yes.
The other thing is that after, Amplify DEI, it's not even started yet and it's already creating a buzz.
Yes.
I'm doing that partially on purpose because it's a long runway for people to connect with Amplify DEI. And
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that, people that did not speak on the summit or weren't even participating were using the hashtag. And I felt a little bit
Yeah.
robbed,
Yeah.
but I also realized that I can moan about it. That's what my business coach told me. You can moan about it or you can step up to the plate. So it took me a while. She convinced me, but it took me a while, and I stepped up to the plate
Yeah.
in registering my brand. And now when people think of Amplify, it's easy. Amplify
Yeah.
DEI.
Vivian Acquah. Like
Yes.
to anyone who is feeling like similar,
Mm-hmm.
or going through something very similar, what are some of the things that you would say to encourage them when it comes to um, owning your brand, owning your
Yeah.
personal brand? What would you say? What advice would you give?
There is another thing that you don't know is,
Are you gonna tell me?
yes, I am going to tell you. I'm going to be open and honest because dipping my toes in this whole trademark industry, it led towards me almost losing my name, my brand. And what I would say is we managed to sort things out. It took some time,
Yeah.
which also slowed me down into, starting the production for the next summit. But now I am the full owner. I have my certificate. Ask for legal advice. Find yourself a legal advisor because I did not start this journey with a legal advisor and I ended up paying for some of these things, but
Okay.
it's smoothing things out. Start for a legal advisor. If you want to trademark your brand, look for within your country what are the rules, what are the investment, and why you want to trademark it. Is it because you don't want other people to use it? Is it because you want to align your brand with it? Because just having a website with the name Amplify DEI isn't sufficient.
Mm. Mm. You just dropped the mic there like that, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I respect that and I completely
Yeah.
understand that. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, even at some point when I thought about what do I name this show?
Yeah.
And at first I thought of like Amplify HR Voices, and I was like, nope, Amplify belongs to Vivian. Like even to think about just putting the word, it's like I know
Hmm.
that's your thing.
Yeah.
While I may think that I'm honoring you
I
with it,
don't own the name though. There
I
are
know you
there
don't
are
own the
other
word.
companies
You
out there
don't
that
own the word amplify, right? But you understand where I'm
I
coming
know,
from,
I
right?
know, I know.
And so for me in my thoughts about it,
Yeah.
it would be, try to find a way to honor HR professionals
Yeah.
that doesn't detract from what someone else has already tried to make.
Exactly. And
And
I
so I
love the name. I love the name because
so
it
now,
has a very powerful, first starter, first word
yeah,
where immediately you know this is what we're doing. And that's the same
exactly.
way that Amplify DEI came into mind. For
Uh-huh.
the show, I
Yeah.
always have to be creative with um with coming up with topics because I don't want
Yeah.
to be it dry. I want to make my topics impactful.
Uh-huh.
And that's how Amplify DEI came to life.
Yes. And I wanted, now you've talked about, you touched on your show, let's
Mm-hmm.
talk a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about your LinkedIn live show,
Yeah.
Amplifying DEI.
Yeah.
Um, so I know the ethos is of why you created that.
Hmm.
And you have amazing panels on your show. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm now getting started in this thing. But you are a huge inspiration to me to go forward and do a lot of the things. And I know, we talk a lot about what we want to do, how we want to do it. And I must
Yeah.
say, like, I'm so honored to have you as a friend to give me good advice about how to move forward doing different things. And I know we talked about me doing this show before, and you gave me some really great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it
What did
comes,
I tell you? I've forgotten. What did I tell you?
you told me to go ahead and do it. You were like,
Yeah.
do it. If that's what you
Yeah.
want to do, go
Yeah.
ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I have your support. Pretty
Yeah.
much similar what you told me before we started the show, which was like, just holla, I'll be there,
Yeah.
as you always are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so this has been like a truly amazing friendship for both of us. And I see some more amazing people joining our joining the live. Um, wow, like really beautiful people. It's so good to see you guys.
It's so many people. I also see a
London is in the
question
house.
from somebody
Yes,
sharing where they can register.
yes, we're gonna get
It
there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't tell them yet. We're gonna get there. I saw the question and I was like, hold a minute. There's a format to this thing. That's okay. What kind of topics do you discuss on your LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
Live when you talk about amplifying DEI?
Yeah.
What process do you go through when it comes to planning a show, reaching out to the potential guests,
Mm-hmm.
and then bringing the show to life? What does it take? Like,
I do have a structure, but
uh-huh,
it's less structured than what people perceive to be. So here I am showing you what's under the hood, not this hood, but under my humanize the workplace hood.
mm-hmm,
I want it to be topics to relate that is connected towards DEI, but it's also about humanizing the workplace. So
yep,
I will honor women, I will honor working moms, but I will also have a conversation about intersectionality. And I might sometimes cry, like I almost did here right now, but it's all because of the meaning stories that we are having. And yesterday I had
mm-hmm,
three young women who were so outspoken, so vocal, so powerful about gender biases. What we need to do to deactivate gender biases, because there are so many biases that are holding women back, but there are
yeah,
also so many biases that are holding other people back who aren't part of the in group, where we are excluding each other. I know I have my biases. I know you have your bias. Everybody has their bias. But
everybody,
to be aware of that,
yeah,
that's next level.
oh yeah, oh yeah. There's one bias that I'm constantly aware of because I live it every day, and that's the bias against my size.
Mm,
And I recently bought a book by Dr. Joy Cox called Fat Girls in Black Bodies Building Their Own
mm,
Communities. And I'm
yeah.
actually she actually has agreed to be on Magnifying HR Voices.
Yeah, because fat
And
phobia is
it's a
another thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
serious thing. And
And
it's one of those things that I have lived for a very long time.
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
in the Caribbean, they make it extremely obvious,
Yeah.
extremely obvious. They body shame terribly,
Yeah.
especially in the older generation.
It's weird because in Ghana you would be celebrated for being a thick woman.
No, not in the Caribbean. Not in
Hmm.
the Caribbean. And the names that I've been called, whether people do it in jest or those kind of things, but that's what
Yeah,
I live. So when it comes to gender bias, body
yeah,
shaming, those kind of things,
yeah.
it's really a difficult thing, and I've seen it happen even in the recruitment process.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
Again, another conversation that we are going to have a little later down, where the biases in recruitment, whether it's ageism, whether it's same gender bias, whether it's
Yeah,
fat shaming, and we're not hiring someone because they're fat,
yeah,
clearly unhealthy.
yeah.
How do they concentrate? Well, they'll be eating all day. Things stuff I've heard. Uh-huh. No, subject for another conversation, but yeah, very painful,
It is. It is
very,
painful. It
very
is
painful.
painful.
I want to ask you this. So, how can HR, because I know,
Mm-hmm.
like, in a lot of spaces, you have this distinction between HR and DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in some spaces, you may have HR being the advocate for DEI,
Yeah,
but where there's that distinction, I know sometimes I hear a lot about, as I talk to different HR professionals or DEI professionals, about there not being a proper allyship between HR and DEI.
yeah.
So, how can we help merge that? How can we help enhance this relationship between HR and DEI
We
professionals?
need to understand that the luggage of HR is already a heavy luggage with the task that HR is doing at the moment. But one of the things that HR can do is educate themselves, invest in DEI, but also become an advocate for setting aside the money, setting aside that budget, advocating for money as well. Um, yes, bias because I don't speak like you, different accent.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Um, Another way that HR can step up is having that conversation with the C suite or having a conversation with the leaders saying that it should be at a separate part. It shouldn't be part of HR. It should be under, or maybe even better, at the same level of the C suite, or maybe under the director or the C suite as well, because
Hmm.
the work for DEI, it has a lot of connection with HR, but I believe it should be above HR as well.
Yeah. I think it's really important for us to recognize, like, especially in the Caribbean, where we may be dealing with DEI from a different perspective. We
Mm-hmm.
come at it with a different lens.
Yeah.
But we can still, as HR professionals, have that awareness. A lot of times we're working in organizations um, where we have that, where we have different races, but we also have different cultures. And I see this happen a lot in the Caribbean, where a lot of Caribbean people have a bias towards people from what they call the smaller islands.
Mm-hmm.
However, it always baffled me, especially for Barbadians, to have that bias,
Yeah.
because we gotta be like one of the smallest islands in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the little islands, and we're not even in the Caribbean chain, we are outside of the Caribbean chain. Talk about being the most out there,
Yeah.
and yet still we would refer to people as
It's our
coming
human
from
thing.
the little
We
island, you
we
know.
are always trying to exclude people because they don't look like us, or we have to exclude them because based of the color of the skin. So there is a lot of colorism amongst us as well.
Hmm.
It's a human thing. It's a human thing.
I wonder, because you see those videos so many times, Vivian, where you see two children come together, black and white. You don't
True.
see that.
Yeah.
You don't see that. And
True.
so a lot of times I think we are taught
Yeah.
to have these biases because we're not born with it.
Yeah.
We are
But
not born.
we are taught through the media, we are taught through books, we are taught through paintings. But don't forget also there's a part, an essential part of our history that is being excluded from all the history books.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if we don't educate all of us how are people going to create understanding, going to raise awareness? And if we are, if the ethnicities are going to be erased, and that's why I am so weird with the fact that Juneteenth is being celebrated, but then
Yeah.
again, history cannot be part of the educational system.
Well, this is the thing. And you know, it's so funny that you said that, because I was in another forum where we were having this conversation. Someone came on to talk about Juneteenth, about the fact that they'd now made it legal, a legal
Mm-hmm.
holiday. And
Yeah.
one of the things that she raised in that conversation was the fact that it is not taught in school.
No.
No one had a clue.
No.
Are we going to teach it now?
Mm.
Well,
You tell me.
well,
There's also a lot that we don't know, right? So the Netherlands had a huge role in the historic slave trade. They also have a huge role in Ghana, where my roots are from. And here, I live in Amsterdam, and the city of Amsterdam, we celebrated the breaking of change. We call it change. We call that Ketikoti. On
right.
the 1st of July, we are celebrating the fact that they broke the chains. And it's the first time that our mayor shared her apologies. She shared her apologies
Mhm.
for the pain that this has caused all of us. She shared also her apologies. I hope that after that, our prime minister will share their apologies, and then they will start with
Yeah.
including the educational system. And even two students, 16 and 18, they challenged the status quo, and they managed to challenge the educational system where it's going to be in the educational system within
Yeah.
5 years.
Well, I'm telling you, this generation that is coming up now, they ain't no joke.
They don't joke.
Not at
If you
all.
think ketchup is spicy, then I'm sorry for you, but the jalapenos that are coming your way, the Madame Jeanette or the Jamaican peppers that are coming your way, I know to eat my peppers. I
Yeah.
learned how to eat my pepper soup.
You
So
better you better
there
have.
is there is a generation that is not ready for this
Yeah.
generation, and I'm all
Well,
for it. I'm all applauding
I'm
them. I am
I'm
rooting for them because it's
absolutely.
because of them that I have a lot of courage. It's because of them that they have opened so many doors because of that, and also realize that
Mhm.
companies are missing out. If you don't
Yeah.
have that diversity, they will check you. If you don't have that transparency report where you are sharing what you're doing, what your goals are for this year. So I'm not referring to within 5 years, I'm going to do this, this, that. What are you doing this year? What are you doing next year?
Yeah.
How do the people feel? How many people have left your company because of the lack of inclusion?
And they will find that information.
They can Google.
This is
They
a
can.
social generation. They can Google things faster than you can flip your hat. And
Exactly.
I'm in complete
Yeah.
awe of all of them.
Mhm.
Having two teenagers, I have a 16-year-old and 18-year-old, and they
Mhm.
question everything. I have a 23-year-old that is
Yeah.
now in the workplace, and they question everything.
Mhm.
Being an HR professional, my oldest son challenges me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you people do this? And
You people.
you people you people HR, why do you people do this, and why do you do that? Why don't you pay
Yeah.
attention to this? And y'all focus on the wrong things. And I'm like, y'all, like, why do you put me in this category this way? He goes, don't you work in HR? And I go, yes. And he goes, so then it applies to you. And
Yeah.
that's why I do a lot of the things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I
why
love it when
this
our
is my
kids
why.
challenge us with questions. I
Yes.
love it. I
Yes,
love it.
and this is my why. This is
Yeah.
why I do what I do,
Yeah.
because I know that I have children that are entering the workforce, and I want to make that a safe space for them to
Yeah.
ask questions, do
Yeah.
things like as I said, my oldest is 23, and I say this all the time to people when he goes to work and they tell him to do stuff, and he goes, "Listen, my mom is in HR. I will ask her if that's allowed." So you guys like he doesn't play. He's like, my mom works in HR, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna ask her. And if she says that this isn't the way it's supposed to be done, then I'm gonna be questioning it again. Like, If you make me sign
I
this,
love it.
no, they're not. He
I
doesn't.
love it.
They're
I
not
love it.
playing.
I love it.
They are not playing. Vivian, do you have any last words of encouragement? Any last thing that you want to say? Okay, yes. Where can people sign up for the
Yeah,
summit? Where can they sign up to
definitely.
attend?
They can go at amplifydei.com where they can
Uh-huh.
register, sign up to a pre-register, and once the site is ready, they will receive a notification for that. Know that there
Yes.
will be an early bird, so if you miss out on this early bird, then I'm
Oh,
sorry,
you're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
Mhm.
What do I will want to leave the people with?
Yes. I will include the link in the comments to the website. So you
Yeah.
might have to come back to the live, though, I mean, to this post for those of
Mm-hmm.
you who are looking. But I
Yeah.
will post it again, just the same way that I post being a speaker. I will keep you guys up to date. And please make sure you're following Vivian. If you're not following her right now, go do it. Go do it. She has over 1,000 notifications in her LinkedIn, but she'll get to you eventually. I promise you she will. Go,
Thank you for adding more.
go do it. That's the whole purpose, right? We're magnifying and
Yeah.
amplifying Vivian, right?
True, true. My message that I have for the audience is have patience. Have patience because I know that the journey that some have been on is very tiring, sometimes not very hopeful. But I always think in songs, and I have to honor Yvonne Alston for, who's one of the speakers, by the way, for sharing this. Remember the Whitney song "Step by Step"?
Yes.
Let's do
Yes.
that. Step by step, day by day, brick by brick, mile by mile.
Well, day by day.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just keep doing these mic drop moments. Like honestly, Vivian Acquah, my dear friend, my sister,
Thank you, my sister.
I am so proud of you. I
I
am
am
so
smiling from ear to ear after our conversation, but also know that I see you as my big sister in the tropics, and I admire you for your strength. I admire you for the human being that you are, but also I am admiring you for the fact that we are now 1 year further. And the moment that I shared Amplify DEI, will you speak? You said, yes, I better
absolutely,
be on there. I better be
absolutely
on there.
got
So I
you.
am grateful for having you on the summit and to speak up about neurodiversity as well. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, my absolute pleasure. I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, you are always there to support me, and I think this is what Black women supporting each other looks
Hmm.
like.
Yeah,
This is what I think a lot of us have struggled with for a very long
yeah,
time, whether we be as professionals at any level.
yeah,
And to see that we can come together, we talk about all kind of stuff. We talk about business.
yeah,
We give each other advice on business. We give each
yeah,
other advice on so many things. And you know what really amazes me is that like we're always open to learning, growing. We're always open to
I
challenging
want to see
each
you
other.
win. I want to see you
That's it.
win.
We want to see each other win, and I think that
Yeah,
that's huge.
yeah,
And we need to see more of this. So, Vivian, if we have to charge the way and do this and make this happen,
yeah.
I'm here for all of that. And I really want to share my great appreciation to all of you in the audience today for joining us to have this conversation. And I want to say a special thanks to all of our our humanizing the workplace people who are here. I want to say so much to seeing you guys here today. Is such a beautiful privilege to have you guys here. And
True,
Vivian and I are
true.
so grateful.
I am.
If you please make sure that you are following Vivian, make sure that you are ready to amplify DEI
Yeah,
and make a difference in the workplace. Don't wait
exactly.
until September to do it. Go
Yeah,
start researching from now. Go and see how you can make a difference in the workplace from now.
exactly.
Always ask that question. Taryn Ellis taught me this. Taryn Ellis, I'm shouting you out today. Taryn
Yes.
Ellis always
He's
says,
the big brother when it comes to
isn't
DEI.
he? He's
Yes,
the
he
best.
is.
He is the best. Torrin Ellis always says to me, Julie, you always want to make sure you're asking yourself the question, who is missing? If you
Yes.
see a room and you
Yeah.
are not seeing everybody proper
Exactly.
representation,
Exactly.
always ask yourself, the minute you sit at that table, who is
Yeah.
missing?
Yeah.
And make sure you put them there. You
Yeah.
make sure you get them there.
Yeah.
That is what you need to do. That's how we amplify DEI. That's how we
Yeah.
make change. That's how
Yeah.
we make sure that the workplace that we are creating for the future generations has an impact and has a safe space to work. That's
Yeah.
how we do it. That's how we do it. I want to just close up by saying a couple of things. I have been doing this show for what, 5 weeks now? And I did this as an experiment. Like, I always conduct social experiments to see how people are going to respond. And I must say, I've had an amazing response, and I will keep on going because you are still here. And as long as you are here, I will be here bringing you challenge, bringing you topics to evoke, provoke, inspire. I will keep on doing that. But tell
Keep
me what,
doing that. But I
yes.
have to give you a sisterly advice. You can also pause.
Oh, don't worry. I am going to make a pause. I have promised to continue until December 18th. After
Mm-hmm.
December 18th, you will not
Mm-hmm.
see me. I am taking a break from December 18th right through to January 30th. And then I will be back in February. And I will be back every other week, not every week.
Exactly.
Every other
Exactly.
week.
Exactly.
We will
I
have,
am also doing every other week right now
yes.
because the work that I'm doing and also
It's,
with Amplify DEI,
yes.
it's a lot.
and
It's a
and now
lot.
that things are picking up with business and different things like
Yes.
that, more HR
Yeah.
professionals are coming forward and saying they need help, and that's why I started this, to magnify HR voices and give them a safe space. Now I've got to provide the space, right? So things have to change a
Look at
little.
you. Look at
So
you. Can you
so
see
we will
my cheeks? I'm smiling.
so we will be making some changes in 2022, but I'm really excited for it. So I want to just share with you who's coming up next week. Next week, joining me
Ooh.
is the amazing Michael Levitt. Michael is going to be talking about his lessons from a heart attack as a
Ooh.
CHRO, now stepping away and sharing his burnout story, his HR burnout story. And we're going to be learning some important lessons from Michael. So I am truly excited for that. If you want to join the conversation, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I live on LinkedIn. Everybody knows that about me. So if you want to reach out, if you want to find the fastest way to get me, it's not email. It would be send me a message on LinkedIn. I will answer. But if you don't do that, then please send me an email at contact@hr@heart.co, and I
Mm-hmm.
will respond to you. Let me know the topic that you want to talk about, and I will be happy to have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
Last but not least, did you know that I wrote a book? My
Hmm.
book is called Confessions of an HR Pro, Stories of Defeat and Triumph. It is available on Amazon on paperback and also in Kindle version. So be sure to go check out Confessions of an HR Pro. And if you have the book already, please do me a huge favor. Go leave me a review on Amazon. Let me know what you thought about it. I'd really appreciate it. Or just send me a message or a post. Post and let me know that you have my book. And let me know your thoughts. I really would appreciate it. And with that being said, Vivian, our
Yes.
time is up.
I loved it.
One
Every minute
hour
of it.
goes by so
I
quickly, but
know, I
it has
know.
been an
Every minute of it. It's always a
absolute
pleasure to have
pleasure.
a conversation with you because it's
Thank
like,
you.
a fire chat that we are having.
It's true. There's
Yeah.
never a dull moment with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I really appreciate it. And with that being said, guys, another day of Magnifying HR Voices is over. If you did not catch us live, I hope you enjoyed the replay, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Magnifying HR Voices. Have a good one.